Hi everyone, so I'm Anne Nola Harris and this is Genine Howard, and we are good friends. And we had a trip to Bali together that was a business trip, but a lot more happened on that trip than we expected. And we're just going to tell you about what went on during that trip and the profound difference it's made to Janine since we've been back, and what's happened for her over the last 5 months. So, where should we start?
Well, I think we start with. So it was a really interesting time because I was leading a retreat and Anne was a participant. And, I've always looked at Anne as, one of my standout clients, and I can see her powers and gifts. And it's never necessarily occurred to me prior to then for me to use your services, so to speak, because we're in that kind of environment.
Yeah.
And so, interestingly, what happened is we all took a day trip out to a place called Pyramids of Chi. And we did an amazing sound healing together. There was quite a few of us in the group. And within a short time, like a matter of hours after that trip, I started to feel violently ill. And, thinking, oh, I've got a tummy bug. And so we went back to the retreat villa, and luckily I had a co-coach who was able to host the rest of everybody while I was upstairs moaning and not having a very pleasant experience. But I guess this is the interesting part, because I was trying to connect with my co-host of the retreat, messaging her from upstairs, please help me. And then what happened for you, Anne?
So Janine was just come out. She looked over the balcony of this amazing villa and just said, can someone please help me? And I just looked up and went, I will. So literally you got back into bed, and then I came in, and literally as soon as I touched you on the belly, the healing began. Like, it was that quickly that it just all started to come through me. And it was just so strong and powerful what was coming through, that you was so on the verge and ready to release. That if we hadn't have gone down this pathway, I think you would have been sick for quite a few days and not been able to release. So it was, literally as soon as I started to work with you, we started to release a lot of past trauma that you've been holding on to, and different experiences. Do you want to share what they are? They're so personal.
Correct. And I think this is really important for one of Anne's clients to actually share what goes on and what comes up and what can be released, because it is so profound. Now, I do need Anne to tell part of this story, because a lot of it I was in a state of non-awareness, but I'm more than happy to share what went on.
Yeah.
Because everything at the end of the day, you'll see by the end of this session that it actually comes back to business and to money and abundance and all of that kind of thing. So, please share.
Okay, so once we started the healing process, then we had to, your mum was the first thing that came up. We had to literally release a lot of past history that had been coming up and had been holding you back. And I don't know if you remember, but during the session you were sort of going through like a birthing process as well.
Yeah.
And people who have never seen the experience before, it's literally like you're giving birth again. And it's because the emotion is just so ready to be released. It's just so deep and being pushed down for such a long time that it's just like, I need to break through. I need to get out. And it was just the perfect opportunity for that to happen for you.
And just to note about that, like when that was happening, I felt in such a safe space to do that and to completely release that. And that's what you created for me in that environment, without having to create anything. It was just the energy that you were giving me was so secure, and that everything was okay and I was ready to release. So that was really beautiful. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, it's so important to me to make sure that people who I work with feel safe, because occasionally women who I work with or are on the other side of the world or interstate can also have this experience.
Yeah.
And so I need to be able to make sure that whilst they're going through that, they feel completely calm,
Yeah.
and they just know that we're releasing. So yeah, it's such an amazing experience. If you get to experience that, it's profound. Like your life is not the same afterwards.
Yeah.
It's
and to be, this is not to frighten anyone about the experience, but whilst I was going through it, like there's a part of you that is sort of looking from the outside in of like, this could seem a little kooky.
Yeah.
Right. But I was in such a space where I was like, no, just let this flow, and whatever needed to come out of my mouth, like noise-wise or energy from my body, that's just reminding me of something. So continue on the story, because this gets really full on.
Yeah. So after we worked with the mum issues, then we actually went a bit deeper and we released the energy around the miscarriages that you'd had.
Yeah.
And, when miscarriages happen, it doesn't matter what trimester they go through, there's still the energy that stays with the mum, and it needs to be released so that the soul can go back. So we then worked on that, and I think once we started to release them, I think you went even deeper.
Yeah.
It was just the grief that you'd suppressed for such a long time was able to be released. And you were so brave whilst we was going through this experience, because not everyone has the courage to deal with that and to release it. But you were just so ready, and that's what made it, such an amazing experience. Like even now, I'm just getting, but those souls all chose to come to you for a reason. There was lessons that you need to learn during that part of your life. And so we really was able to thank them for coming through, but now they was ready to go back and do what they need to do next.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a really beautiful experience.
And I remember during this process that I could feel the energy coming through me like I have never, ever felt before. And I remember too, the energy through my hands and through my feet felt like I don't know, had light beams coming from my hands. Like just the releasing was more powerful than I have words for.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that, and I remember you saying, my hands, and I'm saying it's okay, like we're just releasing. So I remember you really expressing what was going on for you at the time, and you really went through a complete rebirthing process. Like anything that no longer served you was being released, and that's what my work's about.
Yeah. And so let me ask you, do you think it was a case of me just being ready to let it all go, like at a stage in my life to let it go? Do you think that going to the sound healing had a part to do with that, to shift things around? Like, why do you think I was able to have such a profound healing experience?
Timing, obviously, because you just felt in such a safe space to be able to release. With all of the women who we were there with, and the sound healing, that was, such a beautiful experience that we had during that day. Like I remember walking out of there, and there was just so much information that had come through to me, and it was just, I was still questioning it because of the information that had come through. So, sometimes it's just like a process that you're going through, and it's just all of the little bits that are just getting you ready.
Yeah.
Ready. Because I remember when we all got back into the bus to go back to the villa, I just come over feeling really sick, and I remember you sat in the front and I was in the middle, and then the others were in the back, and then I just thought someone is going to be really sick in this car, and then you was like, pull over, and we all had to swap.
Yeah, because I was originally in the back, and I was like, whoa, I was overcome with just an instant wave of illness. Yeah.
So it was just like the sound healing had just started the process, and then the work that we done together was able to just completely clear it
Yeah.
and get you ready.
Yeah, and I think what's now important is perhaps we talk about what's been happening for me since.
Yes, because that's what's made us do this. Like, I've been
Yeah.
listening to Genine and what's been happening for her, and it's just absolutely fantastic. And we both know that if she hadn't have gone through this experience in Bali, then you wouldn't be at the level of success that you've done too.
Totally. And I think too, part of it you can share from an observer as well, because here's the interesting thing. It wasn't until just recently that I went, oh, that's why I'm feeling so incredible and so unlimited and so expansive. Like, it reminded me, it's because I had that healing with Anne. So it was an interesting awareness that when life is just completely flowing and awesome,
Yeah.
you're not necessarily thinking, oh, well, why is this so awesome? Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, money is flowing, clients are coming, relationships are fabulous. I keep saying to you, all my dreams are coming true.
Yeah.
Just in terms of house getting renovated and just literally synchronicity after synchronicity of all sorts of things. Even the dog that I've got, I visioned it in instant manifestation. So from my perspective, it was a really profound aha moment to go, oh, that's right, of course. It's from clearing all of that stuck energy that I had, and in such a big, powerful way in that session in Bali.
Yeah. And, without doing this deep inner work and releasing the emotional suppressed energy that's in our bodies, it can really hold us back. So it doesn't matter how many business coaches you have or how many strategies you implement. If you don't do this deep inner work, you're just going to keep hitting that ceiling or, keep hitting the blocks that hold you back, because it just happens for so many of my clients. When we do this deep inner work, the magic starts to happen.
Yeah.
And we call it magic, but really we're just getting back into alignment, getting back into flow again.
Yeah. And I'll give an example of that, Anne, to demonstrate. Like, I'm a very driven woman. I've always been very successful. I'm a little bit A-type. So I'm always a high achiever, put it that way. And so about a year or so ago, I was determined to get my business to $1 million, like so determined. It was just a thing for me. When I think about it too, it was like such an adrenaline, masculine type energy. And so anyway, I hired a business strategist, and I spent $100,000 in a year on business strategy. And it wasn't them, it was me. I was blocked to the strategy. I just couldn't break through. Like, I had a little burst of like income popping and then going back down, income popping and going back down. And so it's been since that healing in Bali that we did together that I've only just become aware of how stable my income has been, and there's been no dips at all. And I've got beautiful reserves of money, whereas before I used to throw it out the window when it came. There was all of the mother issues attached to that we talked about, and potentially tied up a lot of that grief as well that was mixed in there. So the results, I believe this is the work.
Yeah, definitely.
This is the work. And if you align that with your business, then you become unlimited.
Yeah. Yeah. It's where the gate opens and then the opportunities arrive.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I thank you so much for that, Anne, because it was an unexpected benefit of me going to Bali and hosting a retreat that I actually got to be the healee at the same time. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. It was a pleasure. And just wonderful to see what's happened for you in the last few months. So thanks for sharing.
Thanks, Anne.